I pressed flash, but the game said no. This is what happens when the wheel decides whether or not I'm gonna have fun today. The rule is simple, we are not permitted to use any summoner spells in the first 11 minutes of the game, arguably the most important part of any match. And when you pair that restriction with the support that does this, you know you're in a game for ages past. Loading in, we've got a Singe jungle, which terrifies me as a humble 6 abuser. Let's not hope that Yasuo's name lives up to the reputation. Since we won't be using any of these, I break into dance to assert my dominance. The rat pops out of his hiding place to assault my support, but a humble level 2/6 can't do much against Bile and Filth. I'm actually impressed by the floating marshmallow, he has not left me alone yet, which by Fluffball standards is astounding. Another jump scare ensues as Ratboy injects needles of bile into me, but a quick explosive satchel shortens the trade, and I get to enjoy the poison in my veins in peace. So far so good, no summoner used yet. Sniper woman puts a trap down. Does she think I'm an imbecile? I immediately walk closer to her, avoiding the cupcake, but not before being painfully reminded that I've got no summoner spells to use. The Cosmic Caretaker barrels in with our discount Death Spirit. I get the kill on Cupcake and Cadril falls to Lamb. Despite my early plunder, I am optimistic for the results of this game. As long as I can keep the rat police at an arm's distance, I should be okay. I continue to farm as my babysitter enters the lane to soak up XP, of which I desperately need all of it to succeed this challenge. Bardinet executes minions and I now have a slow push, not really optimal for your boy. Luckily it crashes into the tower shortly after, but unluckily Yasuo's name was correct, as Cupcake is now strong-sided. Singe wasn't man enough for a real gank, so we call our jungler over to camp the bushes. We burn Cupcake's flash, but not before the counter gank ensues. Fair warning, what you're about to witness is not for the faint-hearted. My caretaker must have been smoking something good for him to end his own bloodline. Def and I recall only to be rudely interrupted by a bile spitter. This is getting old now. Unfortunately, my setup froze again. I need a new setup please, and I press Q. Now Craterman would have pressed R, but ultimates are for the weak-minded. However, if your name is Rusty Shell, you are bound to use any tricks available in the book, and bumping cupcakes is something I don't shy away from. A Cadril appears out of thin air and I know my time has come, so I just shuffle around making Michael Jackson proud. 3 minutes of farming later, I bomb a random village, JK, just a dragon, finding the enemy team on it. Being the hero of my own story, since the spirit of death won't help me out, I attempt to kill off the mad scientist before realizing this was a bad decision. To make matters worse, I burn barrier for no apparent reason other than the 11 minutes has passed. I scan the bushes, and having played the sniper myself, I tread lightly. This Cupcake might be winning the game, but you won't catch me with silly tricks. Returning to lane, I meet Mr. Weakside and immediately found out he's lying. I throw my abilities out like a child having a temper tantrum, only to realize that the mad scientist has become a man and is running me down. I eagerly flash before my life flashes before my eyes and I go to sleep. Going mid lane now, Prio is my middle name, and I enthusiastically ping my top laner while he's taking mid lane minions before I hit topside. Realizing he might just be an imbecile, losing an entire wave of top lane, I press on and hope for a surrender vote. An enemy is godlike and I feel like I'm about to be flung into goo, at least my death will act as a tribute to the Rat God. I might not be a god, but I don't mind fighting them, as the Rat King shows up and gets a taste of explosions and poor decisions. Defending my tower with explosives is my first and last name, but flinging hot goo onto my plushy face is singed. I make a not so calculated mistake, tasting the cupcake, and the blueberry muffin flashes to ensure the kill. Another fight happens where one may argue that the swordsman once again is not weak-sided, just incompetent. Baron has been called upon by my team and I doubt the decision for a second, and the reason for the doubt shows up at a moment later. Puff Smoke dies moments later, but not before stalling our attempts of getting the Purple Worm's favor. Smelling something vile, I preemptively put my bomb down, immediately getting rewarded by being deleted from Summoner's Rift. Foresight is never a good thing. My team suicides, going in one after another until my slander catches up to me and we finally FF. Even though I did not use any summoner spells before the 11-minute mark, I didn't win the game, and so we press on towards victory with on top. 6 failed, so I must become a cliff to survive this challenge. On is spicy in a comparable way to white people finding pepper spicy, and I might be one of the most vanilla champions I could have played in this game, especially against Teemo. But since top lane is an island, I don't expect to ruin anyone's day for not using any summoner spells. Learning from our prior mistakes, we keep a distance from the ranged top abuser, hoping to only soak XP and get whatever gold he throws our way. Not being able to walk up helps the bandit scout build a massive wave, of which I will probably see none of the gold from. Playing top lane really is something nowadays. On goes to Pound Town, but not before the town disappears, and now I'm stuck doing the walk of shame and with a pushing wave. I get what I can from a distance, but eventually I walk up to the wave and taste the hamster's poison. I fight for my life with minions by my side, but the fatherless figure flashes out before they end his life. Having returned to lane, I decide to simply get XP and let my team handle this. I just need to be a brick wall, and I barely need money to do so. The rat continues to push, and while he might get tower plates, I'm content with munching on the small guys. Timbleswat more or less ignores me, so I remind him of my presence by tapping his shoulder slightly. Calling upon the train, I get even more gold and remind him of who's boss. Poison Muncher leaves for just enough time to let me semi-freeze, letting me hit another wave for free. When he does return, he shoves the wave once again and heads off to hunt down Birdman, which I won timely. I confidence max and go headfirst into the Bambino, knowing I am grade A beef. I get my auto-proc off immediately into the ultimate, applying the mark once again, breathing fire on his skin and whacking my massive hammer in his stupid face. Taste defeat, ranged top laner.
Sit down, little bitch.
Dying once makes the rat call for his mother, and despite me having flash finally available, I forget to use it. The result of my negligence may shock you as the mountain crumbles, but not without taking the literal sun down with me. Killing his mother was the last straw as they surrender. I count this as an absolute win and no one can tell me otherwise. This was fun, not as fun as you subscribing and liking though. Bye.